Hello and welcome back to the Pain and Panic podcast. And no, that is not Adam Sheets. That is Joe Tooman joining me. I am Chris Reynolds, and we heard you. People keep asking me on the street, "Where's Pain and Panic? Where's the Pain and Panic podcast? Where's Adam? Where have you been?" You've been asking. My family's been asking, and the real truth is, most people watching this probably know what's been going on. But in case you're new and you've been watching us from the start, life happens. Ab and I got a job. Adam has more priorities at his job that he has to do. That's why Adam's not here, because we're busy people. And, the football season ended, a natural kind of gap in the sports cycle. And right when that happened, I had to move and get settled, and Adam's doing his thing. So Adam will be back. We'll get into a normal routine coming soon. But I just wanted to make something for our fans. And also, we have a lot of sports that have happened. NBA, NFL free agency happened. We didn't make a video about that. Baseball started. The whole World Baseball Classic started and finished. We didn't get to talk about it. But basketball's been going on, and we need to talk about it. So I brought in NBA Insider for Pain and Panic podcast, Joe Tooman. Joe, how have you been, bud?
I'm doing great. Last night was probably the most fun I've had watching basketball in a very long time. My Sixers got a really feel-good win over the Charlotte Hornets. Felt like a playoff atmosphere. We're only a couple weeks from the NBA playoffs. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk some hoops. It's been a while for me, too, since I got to sit down and talk NBA.
Yeah, and some things are different about the Pain and Panic podcast. For starters, I lost my setup. Right now, I am sitting on the floor. I have no decorations. I'm sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce. No. Joe's worried about his setup, and here I am on the floor because we still need some furniture. I'm sleeping on my mattress on the ground. We're still getting settled, but this needed to take place because, Joe, something interesting happened in the NBA. The Kia MVP ladder update thing that the NBA randomly releases, which I don't really know what it's based on, had Victor Wembanyama number 1 in its MVP poll, which I thought that was like a clickbaity thing. But this is like the NBA. It's not like ESPN's like Victor Wembanyama should be MVP. No, this is like the NBA's like Kia MVP ladder number 1, Victor Wembanyama. And then I was like, all right, we got to talk about it, because it seemed like for most of the season, it was Jokic early on. Jokic gets hurt. SGA catapults, and everyone's like, it should just be SGA. SGA has been playing amazing. The Thunder have been amazing. That has not changed. But Victor Wembanyama is on the scene. I think what happens is we don't ever think he's actually going to get to 65 games played. But now that he is it time for Victor Wembanyama to become the MVP?
Yeah. Well, this MVP race is one of the better ones I can remember in a while. I think back to that, that Russell Westbrook, Harden, Kawhi, LeBron. Like, it feels like it's that type of MVP race right now for me. I'm going to save my official prediction, or not prediction, but rather like my ballot for at the end of the season. But right now, when I'm really looking at it, I'm kind of torn, but I kind of see it. I feel like Wembanyama is probably the most valuable player if we're talking about valuable. Because if you take him off the Spurs, I feel like they are a lot worse compared to, I think the Thunder could still win a lot of games without SGA. The Lakers could configure something if they just had LeBron and Reeves. But I don't always agree with that, because I don't think just because the award is called most valuable player doesn't mean that's actually how it works. I think it really is best player that season. That's how I've always based it on. So I'm kind of 50-50 between Wemby and SGA right now for who should be the MVP this season. But, I mean, the Spurs have probably been the best team in the league since New Year's, I would say. He's the best defensive player in the league by a mile. He's only getting better as an offensive player. I mean, his shooting percentages are continuing to skyrocket. The Spurs have won 8 in a row. They're 4-1 against the Thunder, which that's allegedly the best team in the league. They're 4-1.
And head-to-heads have mattered in the past for MVP discussions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now I have a couple reasons why you might still argue SGA for that MVP, but just starting out, I would say that Wembanyama probably is the favorite right now. And I think it's funny because everyone was so panicked about that 65-game rule, and I still think there's very valid criticisms about that rule, but it kind of seems like when it comes to the MVP candidates, that's not really going to come to effect at this point. It seems like all 4 of them, because I have 4 in my mind that are in that race. It seems like they're all going to get to 65 games. Now, it's guys like Cade unfortunately won't, but honestly, I don't think Cade, he's going to miss out on maybe first team All-NBA, but I don't think he was in the MVP race.
Yeah, people were like, he should be MVP because the Pistons are at the top of the East. And it's like, do you really think he's better than SGA or Wemby or Jokic? No, but he can happily, be like the guy at the end of the ballot that gets some votes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only real difference. So good to point that out. My thing about larger just NBA MVP picture is you're right in the fact that the naming, I don't think someone carefully put in a formula and they ended up with the word valuable. I think Bob was sitting down in a chair, was like, we should have an award for the best player. Most valuable, sure. And that's what they stuck with. And now every year we have major discussions about the meaning of the word valuable. I kind of agree with you of who had the best season. Based on what they've done this year, who do I think had the best season? You take everything into account. The team around them, the team success, and the team with them and the team without them. I personally just think SGA, his MVP case, if you gave it a score out of 100, could be a 99. You know what I mean? He doesn't have any real problems with this case. I'm not going to try to demerit SGA. But when multiple people have an amazing case, I just kind of fall back on who do I actually like and think is a better player? Yeah. That's just kind of my tiebreaker. Harden and Westbrook 2017, they were both deserving. I hate James Harden. I don't think he plays basketball to play basketball. I think he does it to get his stats, and I think Westbrook gets stats, but I think Westbrook wants to win. And I think Westbrook plays it with energy, and you know what? He willed that team to wins. Yeah. Harden, I think, was just all right, cool, man. Let's get some points. I'll go to the club because I just hate him and he's just a selfish guy. That's just who he is. But you know what? Neither here nor there. So point is, I picked the guy who I liked his style more than the other guys. Harden had a great case. Westbrook won. I'm happy. Years later, Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. For also years, it was those three at the top every year. And you know what, Joe? We kind of forget about this. We're like, oh my gosh, SGA, Jokic, or Wemby, this is so tough. And I'm like, I was pretty torn up about Jokic versus Giannis versus Embiid too. Those were really good, debates. Maybe they didn't go 4 deep or 5 deep. It was 3 deep, but still. So my point is, every year we always get in this debate and we're like, wow, it's great. Guys at the top. This has happened a lot. And this year there's probably more guys at the top, but it's really between Wemby and SGA. Jokic, I'm sorry. You could still say Jokic is the best player. You can say he's the best player. But in terms of the best season, he missed a decent amount of games, and since coming back, he doesn't look like the best player. He's been playing good, but he doesn't look like normal Jokic, and I don't think that should give you. He isn't playing the MVP of the year.
I'll be honest. I think Jokic, while I'd still put him as the best player in the league, I feel like if you're gonna make an MVP case for him this year, it's more based on just stats than what past years where it's actually been what are you watching on the court? What impact are they making? How good are the Nuggets? Jokic is leading the league in rebounds and assists per game. That is insane. It's never gonna it might never be done again. That's really impressive, but that doesn't make him the MVP just because he's leading the league in 2 stat categories. I don't think this Nuggets season, it's the worst season they've had probably since the year before they won the title when everybody was hurt, I believe it was. It just doesn't feel like this is his year to win the MVP. He's been great, and he's actually probably going to hit that 65 game. He can only miss one more game, but the Nuggets are trying to get home court advantage in the first round. I think he's going to be playing.
Yeah, so they have to play the whole rest of the year.
Yeah,
so.
I think he'll make the All-NBA team, but I wouldn't pick him I would have him 4th on my MVP ballot right now. So
I'd have him 5th.
5th, who do you have ahead of him?
Luka.
Well, I do too. I was going to ask you about this. So I have Luka 3rd, and I was curious if you think he has, with the way the Lakers have been playing lately. I wrote it down here. He's leading the league in scoring. He's almost at 34 a game. The Lakers are 11-1 in their last 12. They're beating good teams. He's just on an absolute heater right now. Do you don't think he's in the race? To me, it's kind of I'm still kind of waiting to see. I'm considering Luka, SGA, and Wemby right now.
So my only issue with Luka is I'm not going to pretend a month ago did not happen. The whole narrative around Luka for a solid 2 weeks became so negative, anti-Luka. They're all fed up with his fouling, and the narrative around him and the Lakers was really bad for a week, and then he just started playing better, and then the team was winning more, and we all forgot about it. And I'm if you're going to win MVP and have to beat out Wemby and SGA, I don't want to have that stretch of the year where we hated you and hated the way you played, and we all agreed that you're really annoying and that the Mavericks traded you for a good reason. Like, the whole narrative flipped on him for like nothing specific. Just people kind of got fed up with him randomly, and then the Lakers just started winning again. I don't really know what happened there. I would like someone from the NBA to come out and tell me like, this is exactly what happened and this is why it went away. It just seems like it was a random narrative that came and went.
Yeah, I think that's fair. What I would ask you though is, although I think Luka probably finishes third, I think he's still in the race because he's really elevated the Lakers over the past month or two. And even earlier in the season, when everybody was kind of negative on the Lakers, they still had a good record because they were winning so many close games, and everyone was like, well, why are the Lakers this good? We're watching this. It doesn't feel like this team is this good. LeBron and Reeves have both missed time with injury.
Yeah.
And then the other two starters are 2026 Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton. I'm just saying, he has, when you look at that resume, that the first half of the year, the Lakers were able to stay afloat, win these close games, and then the past 2 months, or past month, I guess, they've been one of the like 5 or 6 best teams in the league.
Okay.
Just
Joe,
saying.
you're preaching to the choir here because I love Luka. Like, you don't have to tell me that. You know, probably the team that I watch the most is the Lakers. My main thing is with Luka's case, it is that, like you said, they've been missing a lot of people. I'm sorry, Marcus Smart, he's just not a good, he's not that good of a player anymore. I'm sorry. And Ayton has been up and down. Now he's doing really well. Probably next week we'll change our opinion on that. You know, the Lakers don't have a lot, and he's gotten them to the 3rd seed, which is great, which most years would probably even win him an MVP. My thing is SGA's case. Now, I'm not picking SGA, but I'm saying why I would have him ahead of Luka. They have not had Jalen Williams, their second best player, for most of the season. I think that definitely should count for something. I do think SGA maybe isn't as like reliant, like the Thunder aren't as reliant on SGA as the Lakers are on Luka. But that's also kind of just like kind of a problem on Luka, is the way he plays is like the team relies on him. He is the system. And I'm not going to ding SGA for not that. SGA plays defense, Luka doesn't, I know. Offensively, I honestly think they're very similar. I think Luka's a better playmaker, you know, so like advantage Luka a little bit on offense, but also the Thunder are the 1 seed, and for most of the season we thought they were going to be unbeatable until the play-in tournament happened, and then they kind of like came back to earth. So I just think, considering SGA is the 1 seed, they didn't have Jalen Williams for a lot of the year. I know the Thunder are really good anyways, but like he's been their constant stable force. I would just value that a little bit more than Luka, who, like I said, for a solid stretch, people just like turned their opinion on and hated him again because it was getting annoying with his complaining, and his defense was terrible. And I feel like when the Lakers lose, it's usually because their defense, they just don't do anything. Whereas when they win, it's just because Luka has to be so absurd on offense. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with SGA, you know, going behind Luka, but I just think like, all right, like there isn't really much more SGA could have done considering they lost the second best player. I don't even think I'm not a Chet fan anyways. Like,
Hardenstein too missed a lot of time.
Yeah, he's been gone a lot of it. Like, and then Lou Dort and Caruso, like they're shooting, like they're up and down. They're really impactful at times. I mean, AJ Mitchell coming on was good for them, but like the Thunder have, you know, haven't had the most stable season besides SGA. He's been their constant force. That's kind of the point for him. My point for Wemby is the best player when you watch him on a court. He stands out more than anyone, not just because he's 7'5", but because his impact, anytime he touches the ball, you're like, oh my God, this guy is unstoppable. And then when they beat the Thunder in the play-in tournament, the Thunder were winning, and Luke and Wemby was just coming back from an injury.
Yeah,
anytime he was off the court,
bench, right?
Yeah, anytime he was off the court, the Thunder were getting a lead. Anytime Wemby would come on the court for like 2 minutes, he would swing the game back in their direction. And he's one of the few people that can actually play SGA because he has the length to like guard his mid-range. And Chet can't guard Wemby because Chet is just long, but Wemby's longer. So, you know,
and he's just a better scorer.
He is a better scorer too. Like, you know, like Chet is a long, lanky guy. That's kind of his strength. But when someone can outdo that, then Chet has nothing on him. So really all that to say, when Wemby plays, the Spurs look like the best team.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why I would pick them, is because Wemby on the court looks like the best player.
Mhm.
SGA, I think narratively, the fact that Jalen Williams has been out, the fact that they just won the title, and also this is something, not everything, but something. Wemby has not had any playoff success yet. I understand this is a regular season award. Just
Mhm.
historically, we usually don't anoint someone the best, most valuable player in the league when we haven't seen them play a playoff game yet.
Mhm.
Kind of just like, you don't want to anoint someone MVP and then have them like blow up in the playoffs and get scared of the moment.
Yeah.
Not that I think Wemby's going to do that, but like, that's mostly for like best player in the world argument, is we usually hold off on that. So like kind of hard to pick that, but
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
some thoughts there.
Yeah, I think your outlook's right there, because that's kind of where I land too. I think I'm leaning Wembanyama, but like I still kind of want to, consider SGA, because I think they both have, as you described, like really good cases where I think it's like with the Thunder, it's like, well, they didn't have Jalen Williams, who everybody considered, a top 20, top 25 player in the league coming into this season. He's
Yeah.
only played, what is it? I wrote it down, 29 games this year.
And
He's missed
some of
that
them he
much
does not look
time.
like himself.
Right, and yeah, and when he's played, he hasn't been, the Jalen Williams we saw in the finals last year, etc. So if you just look at that, it's like, oh, SGA got the Thunder to be pretty much just as good as they were last year, while he's missing his number two. That's a great argument, but
Yeah.
you kind of described it. It's like, what are the Spurs without Wembanyama? Yeah, they have some good guards, but they're not going to be the elite top line defense without Wemby. He's the best rim protector in the league. He's one of the best scorers in the post in the league, and even as a 3-point shooter, he's pretty great, honestly. I mean, he's not, maybe not elite, but he's pretty great. He can create his own shot despite, his stature. So all around, he's probably the best player. And if you take him away, I know the analytics like Luke Cornett, but I'm sorry, it's just not going to be the same. So that's kind of the thing. It's like, I don't think the Spurs, who are only 2 games behind the Thunder, I think the Thunder, well, it's tough because in this scenario, like Jalen Williams didn't play either. So like if you take SGA and Jalen Williams away from the Thunder, what's their record? That's fair to say. But also, I just think if you take Wemby from the Spurs, I mean, I think his impact is I mean, it's obvious at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, we know how great he is.
I think SGA's had 2 moments where I'm like his, I feel like every time an MVP.
And also, SGA won last year.
He did. And like, it shouldn't really play that much of an impact, but it does. I don't want to give it to Jokic like what is it, fifth time? Fourth?
It could be his fourth.
Could be his fourth.
Yeah.
Like, I think he won 2, then he did not win, and then he won the third. Yeah.
And then that was 2 years ago, right? Yeah. Yeah. There's SGA. Yeah.
SGA did have that game winner on the Nuggets and on the Celtics. Like, he had these big moments this year.
Yeah.
Jalen Brown is an MVP candidate. I actually would have Jalen Brown, honestly, neck and neck with Jokic. That might sound crazy, but like, they had no Tatum. I thought the Celtics were going to miss the playoffs or like be a play-in team.
Yeah.
When you watch the Celtics, I don't recognize Jalen Brown. Not because of the hair, but just because when he touches the ball, he's so aggressive. The way he drives in, I'm like, oh my God, he's using a left hand. What is this? Like, I think Jalen Brown has had the best version of a season he could have too. So like, there's a lot of guys who I like. Cade has had a great point. Like, this is why they say it's like a tight race, because there's a lot of people who really have done the most you could expect in that situation. The Spurs weren't supposed to be the 2 seed. They were supposed to maybe be frisky and make the playoffs for the first time, but they weren't supposed to be the 2 seed, looking like they're going to win. So, a lot of good points. I think I just don't love watching SGA and the Thunder. He seems like a cool, chill dude. The way he plays pisses me off sometimes, where I'm like, and I don't want to get too into like the foul thing, because Luka does that too, but like, every time he gets a foul call now, I'm like, you're waiting to get annoyed at it. And then just these, like, he pushes off like almost every single jumper. I can't stand it. I'm sorry. Like, it's like when I love Giannis, but Giannis would go in, elbow 5 people in the head, and then dunk the ball. And I'd be like, well, they were kind of moving as he went in there, but like, he's, initiating all the contact like a bull in a china shop. So like, everyone kind of has their style of what they like. I think Wemby, who can defensively have the greatest impact we've seen in a very long time, the fact that like no one could go in the paint is really fun to watch. It's really funny to watch. watching a random Hornets Spurs game, 2-on-1 fast break against Wemby, and they're both just standing by the 3-point line. Like,
Yeah.
that's the stuff that's different that makes Wemby feel like the best player. SGA is one of the best scorers. I think defensively he's solid, but right now it feels like the narrative is on the Spurs, and head-to-head he's owned them. And I think SGA's had a moment against Jokic, against Jaylen Brown. He hasn't had one against Wemby because Wemby's owned that one. So I'm happy if Wemby wins. I think more traditional voters would just vote for SGA because he's the top of the conference. His second best player was missing. He still has the best record. He got them there.
Yeah.
Wemby's unproven in the playoffs. Also, this is completely unfair to SGA. Wemby's not going to have a lot of 65 game plus seasons. Based on the fact that he's 7'5", the fact that the last 2 seasons he didn't. I'm kind of like, if Wemby plays 65 games, he should just win every award because we don't know if we're always going to get that.
He should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year before he got the blood clot issue. Yeah, I agree. So I think I'm with you. I mean, I'm more of an SGA guy than you. Like I was lucky enough to go watch the Thunder play the Sixers this past week, and that was an absolute bloodbath because the Sixers, besides VJ Edgecombe, had nobody in that game. But I just love watching him. I think he's such a smooth, scorer. I know people don't love like the free throws, but he's making like another 20 shots that aren't at the stripe. I don't know. I take the good with the bad with him. But at the same time, I'd be rooting for the Spurs against the Thunder in the playoffs, and I think I'm rooting for Wemby to win this MVP for all the reasons that you kind of just detailed. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a tight race. It'll be interesting. I mean, what if the Spurs pass the Thunder for the 1 seed? Like, I mean, I think Wemby might already win the award, but I think if the Spurs finishes the 1 seed, I mean, they're only 2 games behind, and they obviously have the tiebreaker. I think at that point, it kind of would be tough to not give it to him. I mean, there's still 8 games. Like, it could happen.
Yeah. If the Spurs win the 1 seed, SJ's main argument goes out the door.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like that's just like objectively is true. Is he's got the 1 seed. He was the best. They were the best team in the NBA, and he was their best player. That will always lead to someone being in the MVP discussion. Like I get that, and that's fair. But if SGA loses that, I'm like, okay, well, I think Wemby's better, and his team was better with less help than SGA has. I think it's clearly Wemby, but I just think the Spurs are going to hold on to that, or the Thunder rather. The Lakers, I think, being 3 and Denver 4 is kind of why I would have Luka ahead of Jokic. Is like, Jokic, you missed time, you came back, and you still have been slipping a little bit. And maybe they're playing a little bit better, but like Jamal Murray's been really good this too.
Jamal Murray's had an amazing year, and they're still, Well, I will say Denver is 8-2 in their last 10. Like they're coming on. They had a lot of guys miss time. Peyton Watson's back. I think Gordon's back too. So
Cam Johnson, I think, was replaced by Puff Johnson this year. I'm so looking into it. But he's been gone all year, not health-wise, just quality of play.
Yeah, that's interesting because I agree with you. It's just funny because if you look at their metrics, it's like actually that's why the stats don't always tell the truth. Like Cam, you got me saying Puff Johnson. Cam Johnson, like I think he's like a net plus 12 or something. It's like no, like just no.
You're on the court with Jokic, but you're not doing much to help.
Yeah.
I think just watching Denver, especially against the Thunder at the end of the game, they got lucky because like Dort elbowed Jokic, and then they got like these free throws, and they said it was on 3 when it wasn't, and like it kind of made the game closer than it really was because the Thunder were just going to win that game by 4, but instead they got like all these free throws because of Dort elbowing Jokic. And you know what? Dort sucks. He sucks. Okay. You're the best team in the league. You don't need to be elbowing guys trying to take them out. You don't need to be sticking your leg out to trip Jokic. Like you don't need to be a Zaza Pachulia when you're Lou Dort. You're actually good at basketball. Why are you trying to injure players? I don't get it. And it's not even like he's angry. Not to, hate on the Sixers, but Embiid's fighting for the ball.
This is when he tripped him, right? That's what you're talking about?
This is the second time. So the first time Dort tripped him.
Yeah.
Then when they played most recently, SJ hit a game winner on the Nuggets.
Yeah, okay.
The Thunder were about to win. Denver got the ball, and as they're shooting a 3, like they called a foul or something. But at one point in the game, the Thunder were going to have the ball, and Dort just elbows Jokic in the face, and then they called a flagrant. Denver gets free throws in the ball. And I'm
Okay.
like, what are you doing, you dummy? Like, you're good at basketball. You could shoot threes and play defense. You could run.
Yeah.
Also, truly was out there to injure people. Like, he wasn't good, so he had to be an enforcer, is what we call him.
Yeah.
You could play physical, but you don't need to, like, go and injure the best player in the planet. That's just, like,
Mhm.
whatever. So anyways,
Mhm.
I was getting lost with it. Watching the Nuggets, they don't look like the Nuggets where they have this really cool creative offense. It kinda just looks like Jokic is, like I think teams are so used to Jokic doing what they're not used to. They've kinda gotten used to that now of, like, where he's gonna go with the ball.
Mhm.
I don't know, they just feel kinda stale. So I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Jokic probably is gonna go back to 4th. He should be 4th. Jaylen Brown should be 5th, but I think Jaylen Brown has played amazing. But I would say Luka's 3rd because of what he's done offensively special. Um, I think Wemby's better than SGA.
I agree.
MVP discussions, if you get into, like, the semantics of what it means to be valuable, I
Mhm.
get if you have SGA first, but I just thought it was a
Yeah.
very interesting race, so I wanted to discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always do that 100 player top 100 players pod. Like Jokic and Wemby. I mean, obviously we can look at what happens in the playoffs. That's gonna be interesting. I think those are your top two right now. I love SGA, but I think he's third. That doesn't mean he'll be third for MVP. I think he should be second for MVP. But I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's probably one of the closer races of the past 10 years, though, for sure. Because, like I said, I don't think Luka will win for all the reasons you described, but I think he's played himself into like an honorable, number three, like not too far off from like what a number one season could be. So
Yeah, and I for Luka's, thing, like, I don't think there's any world where the Lakers could have possibly been the 1 or
Mhm.
the 2 seed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
nothing against Luka even, it's just, like,
I mean,
the 2
those
teams
two,
and you have the MVP candidates.
yeah, those two teams are just the best two teams by far in the
And
league.
I know Reeves and LeBron have been hurt, but you still do have Reeves and LeBron on your team.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like Westbrook's Thunder season where, like, his 2nd best player was either Oladipo before he was good or Steven Adams before
Yeah.
he really came on. Like, it was a
Yeah.
baby Steven Adams, so that
Yeah.
wasn't even the second best player at the time. Like, I would just say a baby Oladipo, like,
Mhm.
whatever. So, like, that was really a case of, like, pulling up trash. Jokic the first time was, like, pulling up trash.
Yeah.
Luka's pulling up
Austin
trash.
Rivers and Campazzo, yeah.
Yeah, like, it was a team where you're like, "Wow, this is truly just Jokic," but
Mhm.
anyways, we can now move on. We were gonna talk about some of these other teams. I won't talk about as much of some surprising teams, mostly
Yeah.
because I feel like the NBA is kinda heating up. There's always, like, that one team that kinda gets hot late in the year, and we all kinda get into that. One year was the Knicks when Randall got hurt.
Yeah.
Sorry, Miss Randall, I'm sorry,
That's
but
right,
when
yeah, I remember that. I remember that
when
team.
he got hurt,
Yeah.
we fell in love with the Knicks with Brunson and Josh Hart, and we're like, "This team is fun and the ball moves. This is so much better now that Julius Randle isn't standing with the ball for 12 seconds on the baseline."
Yeah.
Like, it was fun. Dante DiVincenzo was on that team, so, like, yeah,
I liked it till the refs, colluded with them to beat the Sixers in the playoffs.
that was a Sixers series. I knew you wouldn't like that one, but it was a fun team that came on
Yes, it
late.
was. It was.
Uh, a few years ago, we had the Mavericks with Luka and Kyrie. Like, no one expected
Mhm.
Luka to go to the finals that year, but he did,
Right.
you know? So we usually have some of these. So we're gonna look for some, like,
Well
teams that are
well,
coming strong that might be
just for starters, Chris, just to give you a taste, like, you're talking about teams coming on late in the season. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 7 teams that are 8-2 or better in their last 10 right now. Like there's all these teams that are going on these crazy hot streaks right now, going into the playoffs. A lot of people peaking at the right time. But I'm curious, like, is there anyone? You mentioned that Luka Mavericks team. Like, is there any team in your mind that is elevated itself from like playoff team to contender? Because there's teams like, for example, Atlanta. Maybe we can talk about them, but I think they could give some teams a fight. But are they going to win the title? Like, I don't think so. Is there any teams that you think is moved into contendership?
The only one well, here's okay, well, let's just get to, like, these teams that you're saying. So in the West, ready for this? In
Mhm.
the last 10 games, the Thunder are 9-1,
Yeah.
Spurs are 9-1, the Lakers, who we're gonna get
Yeah.
to, are 9-1,
Yeah.
the Nuggets are 8-2. Those are the top 4 teams in the West.
Mhm.
The Lakers are probably the one that are coming on, like, the most hot, probably because, like, they're the Lakers, so we talk about it, but also like they've kind of risen the most, whereas the Spurs and Thunder have kind of been at the top.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers are the only team that I think have the top tier talent to actually like win the title because they do have Luka. And we talked about the best player in the world. Luka could still be the best player in a series against even Wemby, even against SGA. Luka could play better than them. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, Luka's had more playoff experience than all of them. I know SGA just won the title.
It's true.
Luka's been to a finals, been to the conference finals before that, and he's been to the playoffs like almost every year of his career. So
Didn't Dallas beat them in the semis the year the Mavericks made the finals?
yep,
Yeah.
beat them in 6.
Yeah.
And SGA played good. That was the year the Thunder decided to just not have a center.
Well, that's because Chet
Besides
was hurt, but
Chet.
yeah.
It was like baby Chet, but like Chet can't be your only big guy on the roster. Sorry. So whatever. SGA was just playing well, but Luka was lobbing it up every single play to Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford.
Yeah.
Fun times back when the Mavericks had him. Anyways, because they have Luka, you could take the Lakers seriously. Their defense is probably the worst defense of a contending team that we have. I love LeBron. I love Luka. I love Austin Reeves. None of them are good defenders at this point in their career. DeAndre Ayton has been playing better defense, and if you have a center playing good defense, that means a lot. Like that's a whole section of the court you could guard. And honestly, against the Thunder, I'd rather have good paint defense than perimeter defense because let Udor and Kurulo shoot.
Yeah.
I don't want SGA shooting these mid-rangers or lobbing up to Chet or Hartenstein all game. So maybe against the Thunder would be better.
I don't know, man. But like, listen. I'm not trying to like. I get it. We all know Ayton isn't what he was in Phoenix, but even if he's playing better, I mean, it's Jokic, it's Wemby, it's Chet. Like, come on, like it's just not going to work out for the Lakers in those matchups.
I'm just saying, Ayton is probably their best defender on the team.
Sure,
in their starting lineup, which is kind of concerning. But if he's playing decent defense, at least it's the center positions. If Marcus Smart was playing the only one playing good defense, I'm sorry, the shooting guard is not going to have a big impact. But Ayton playing good defense could help patrol the paint. Then maybe you just have some guys on the perimeter, get lucky that the Thunder aren't a good shooting team as much. Maybe you could talk me into it. They're the only team in the West because the Nuggets, they're playing better. I'm just not feeling it from them this year. The vibes have been weird. I don't know. Yeah,
I think the only thing is Gordon missed so much time. It's like maybe if it's just we're healthy now for the playoffs, like maybe, but I don't know. I don't see it either. But
yeah, they're tough because they have won a title, and last year they took OKC to 7 and could have easily won that series. However, they did have a major loss. They lost Russell Westbrook this offseason, so that's going to change a lot.
The best player on the Kings, Russell Westbrook. Actually, that's Rayno. I shouldn't say that. Rayno's a dog.
No, it's Westbrook. I'm not joking. Westbrook on a bad team is the best version of him I've seen. Like,
well, that's why he won the MVP. He was good then, but like they had nobody else. That's why he was so great.
Russ on the Kings, Russ on the Wizards, Russ on the Thunder. After KD left, before Paul George got there, those were his the seasons were feeling wise inside. You were like, I love him because low expectations there. But no, just not on the Nuggets this year. I'm sorry.
Bro, Jalen Pickett got his job. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
He beat the Sixers, man. Jalen Pickett. I watched Jalen Pickett take over a game against my Sixers this year, and Peyton Watson too. It's been great. But yeah. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked.
I don't think there's anyone else in the West that could win besides the few teams we talked about. Like, look at the rest of the conference. Like,
the Rockets. The Rockets are just disappointing. I thought the Rockets were going to be so good this year, and everything went wrong. Everything has gone wrong. So I think they just they went way too much into one specific style, and somehow that style completely revolved around a 34-year-old center who doesn't score the ball. And I love Steven Adams, but how is losing him gonna tank your whole season? Well, I guess also Kevin Durant hates all his teammates. That's probably the other issue. But
well, VanVleet got hurt to start the year, which they keep blaming. I know VanVleet is good.
I can't blame that. I'm sorry. I love Fred VanVleet, but
Fred VanVleet is a good basketball player.
Yeah.
he is not Steph Curry. He is
Right.
not like
Right.
Luka Doncic. He's not this point guard that's gonna like change the team offensively.
Yeah.
Like he might be able to get some extra shots. He might be a good leader on the court. Also, though, like, and I know he's a good
And,
defender
and,
for his
and it's not like
size.
they're not a good defense without him. Like that's their strength.
Yeah,
They don't need Fred
like
VanVleet to play
I
good
think
defense.
they'd be a better defense without him because they could rebound better because he's only
Yeah.
6 feet tall. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
sorry. So I think that was ridiculous. The way that they could not solve Kevin Durant getting doubled, and also it was a terrible Kevin Durant game when the Lakers went against him. I was texting you guys like
Yeah.
Kevin Durant
Yeah.
just had a backcourt violation and then had a bad turnover, like, and
Mhm.
then he like was slowly dribbling it up, and then they called an 8-second violation on him. And I was like, oh my
Even the
god,
Sixers had a crazy the Sixers who are just so up and down, especially like that point in the season, like January. And they forced 8 turnovers on Kevin Durant. Like it's just this Rockets offense is so and we're supposed to be talking about good teams, so I apologize. But to me, they were supposed to be in this conversation as like a party crasher, and they're just
yeah.
not. Like their offense is just so broken. And I don't know. Anyway, we don't need to go. I don't
It's
want to sidetrack.
the Udoka Celtics again.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how
I
it
agree.
feels.
So, anyway,
Minnesota, you could try to talk you into. Kind of texted about this the other day.
yeah.
I'm not a Julius Randle fan. I'm not a Gobert fan. Ant's great. I don't think they're gonna. I would be
Yeah,
stunned
and
because
Ant's
you'd have
been
to pull
hurt.
up. Yeah, to win, you'd have to beat like the Spurs and the Thunder, and that's just not gonna happen. I don't think any team could do both. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, the Wolves 2 years ago had the awesome run, and they deserved to be there. If we're being honest, they kind of had the easiest possible path this year. They went against a Lakers team that I don't even remember who the center was because they didn't have Aiton yet.
Is it Jackson
And
Hayes
then
still?
I guess it was Jackson Hayes, yeah. And then they played the Warriors without Steph Curry. Like Jonathan
Yeah.
Kuminga was averaging 25 in that series. So, and then they lost to the Thunder. So I just don't think that was as real as
Last year was a little bit of
yeah,
Mickey Mouse conference finals appearance,
yeah.
but well, that's really it. I mean, the Clippers with Kawhi are interesting, but like,
The 8th seed though, that's a problem. Yeah, I actually
yeah,
really like what their team post that trade. The trade deadline is really interesting, but they're just when you start. What were they? 5-18, 5-20. Like
yeah.
I know Ty Lue was like, "We're gonna go this exact record and make the playoffs," and he was right. Like, congrats, but you're the 8th seed still because you were so bad at the beginning of the year. So I don't know.
Also, we'll get into this later, but we already know the 10 teams from each conference that are going to the playoffs. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it's
so
like
weird.
over. Yeah,
Now to the East for the surprising teams. There are two that I would say are like, they're like
yeah,
when I watch the daily NBA recaps,
sure,
I'm excited for two teams.
sure.
One is the Atlanta Hawks and Jalen Johnson. Um,
It's so
we
good.
were talking about this. He's one of those guys that when I see like the clips of like the game afterwards, you could convince me he's the best player when you just show me the highlights that he has.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
Well,
god, this guy's
He,
insane.
he he probably is in most games. Honestly, he probably is the
Yeah,
best player on the court. Yeah.
he's had a phenomenal season. The Hawks, what do you know?
Well,
After the Trae Young trade, they're
Chris,
looking real good, Joe.
Chris, who's helping them? My guy C.J. McCollum. They brought him in, and they were winning with him in the starting lineup. It's
Yeah,
awesome. I love
yeah.
it. They basically replaced Zachary Risachet with C.J. McCollum, and it's working. It's working.
Is
And
anyone
also,
from them?
you mentioned Trae Young. They're the number 1 team in assists, and that's after trading Trae Young, and that's because of Jalen Johnson, like you said.
It's because the team could pass the ball. They don't need Trae Young to only do it for his pick and roll assist game.
Right. Yeah.
They're actually moving the ball. What do you know?
Hmm.
Is the best? I mean, the best player from that draft was Castle. Is anyone else like
Is that Jalen Johnson's
decent?
draft?
No. I'm talking about
Oh, the
Ricochet.
Risachet draft. Yeah. I'd have to sit down and look at it, but off the top of my head, I mean, Sar's good, but he's not on Castle's level.
Yeah,
No.
it's just sad you had that draft for like last year. With, like,
Is that Klingen's draft? Oh no, Klingen's last year. Klingen's last year's draft.
yeah, not a great draft. And then we had
No.
Flag, Knipple, and then next year we're gonna have Boozer
Wait,
and
Klingen
Bielsa.
was Castle's draft, wasn't he? I
They
think he
both played
was.
on
Yeah, because they were
UConn.
at UConn. They were UConn together. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're some draft. So what do you know? The 2 UConn guys are the good guys in that draft,
yeah.
as everybody expected. But anyway,
Well, yeah. So the Hawks, I think they're a very exciting team. I love Jalen Johnson. I think when you look at the East, if Cade can't come back, you could really
mm,
like see it kind of getting wonky.
I agree.
because they could be playing the Hornets. And
Right,
Joe, the Hornets are the
dude.
best 10th seed I've ever had feelings of.
They're 25-9 since January 15th. Like at their lineup with the LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Khan, Bridges, Diabate lineup outscores people 26 points per 100. They're insane. Like, and I watched, as I said, I got to watch their game. It's probably the second or third time I've watched a full Hornets game during this crazy run they've been on. It was against my Sixers. It took everything that they had. That was the best Sixers game the whole season because everybody played well, and that's what they had to do to beat this team that could score anywhere on the court. They play awesome defense. They're elite. They destroyed the Sixers on the glass. Like, I don't really know what the Hornets are bad at besides I don't know if they're getting down in a stance and stopping like, Donovan Mitchell. I don't think their perimeter defense is like that, and that's kind of why they lost yesterday. Honestly, the Sixers. So Maxey and VJ were getting Miles Bridges switched onto them, and they were attacking him. But the Hornets though they're insanely good. They're just ridiculously good. I don't think they could beat like most of the teams in a but if it's 8 versus 1 and there's no Cade, I agree. That's a huge upset. I mean, I'm just saying my Sixers too. You get matched up in an 8-1.
I could honestly see them
with no Cade.
I could see them beating any team except the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Charlotte?
I know people are buying the Charlotte. I could think the Charlotte Hornets could beat any team except the Celtics. Not that they will, but like I could see them beating the Knicks. People are buying into the Knicks again.
Why can't they beat Boston, Chris? I'm genuinely asking. Like, why not?
I think if they get Tatum back, and you have Tatum, Brown, both of whom have won a title together, I think that's going to be hard to beat. Peyton Pritchard is really good, and I'm just like, I believe with the infrastructure they have, with the way Jaylen Brown has played this year, I think they're just going, and it's hard to go into Boston, and the Hornets are a young team. They don't have any playoff experience. You're going to go into Boston and beat the Celtics, who like 2 years ago looked like by far the best team in the league, and last year were most people's picks to win, except that what happened? Tatum got hurt in the playoffs. They were going to lose anyways, but like they didn't have a great playoffs last year because Porzingis injuries and stuff. But they have Cade has been really good. Like they kind of have good role players that are cheaper that can just fit around their stars better. I think they're kind of
I would pick Boston. I'm just saying, like Charlotte's beaten everybody. Like they've beaten opponents of all statures, including did the Celtics win? They had a really close game. I forget who won that. It was like a 4-point game, 3-point game. I forget who won. But I feel like Charlotte's gonna upset like someone in the first round. I just feel like they're. I don't think they're just gonna suddenly run out of gas. Now they gotta get through the play.
The Hornets lost 114-99.
Okay. Maybe I was thinking
Tatum had his best game.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Atlanta's game against Boston.
Is that today, Joe? I think that was today's game.
What? Charlotte and Boston?
Yeah, they played today.
Oh really? Oh, okay. Maybe I was probably talking about the previous Charlotte and Boston game. Well, there you go. Boston beat them today.
Here's the thing. Tatum played well today. 32 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists.
Oh, that's his best game so far.
They didn't have Jaylen Brown today.
Right.
So without Jaylen Brown, they won by 15. And
the best Tatum game before today, because obviously 32 points is what you want to see from him, but the best game he had was against the Thunder. They beat the Thunder, and that was both guys. And like Tatum kind of let Brown do the scoring, but he had like 12 rebounds, 7 assists. Like, I'm just interested to see how the Brown Tatum thing progresses, because I'm not one of these guys who's like they're gonna take away from each other. Like, we've seen them win a title together, but like Jaylen's averaging 28 a game right now. Like, I'm just curious. Like, they got the win over the Thunder with Tatum in the number 2 spot. Like, how does this progress? Because you just said, he had a 32-point game night without Brown. Like, how does this progress into the postseason for 4 rounds maybe? That's what I think will be interesting.
As a Jason Tatum believer and a Jason Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown supporter, it pains me to say this, Joe, but they won a title with Jason Tatum having 2 bad series in a row, and Jaylen Brown was the best.
And Jaylen Brown won the MVP. Yep, you're right.
And he won both MVPs, the conference finals MVP and the finals MVP. In the finals, I think it was more even. The conference finals, clearly Jaylen Brown's series. Like,
Mm-hmm.
am I reversing that? One of them was definitely Jaylen Brown. The other one I was kind of surprised was Jaylen Brown. Tatum can do things that Jaylen Brown can't. Tatum is a better playmaker, like getting assists, more guys involved, and is surprisingly a really good rebounder. And he's like 6'10", 6'9", so like maybe not that surprising, but Tatum can do those things. I'm hoping Brown becomes more of a scorer this postseason. Tatum kind of does secondary duties, and I think they're going to be really good. They have a lot of role players who just all seem to click. That's kind of the Boston way, is just like whoever they get is great, and whenever they leave, they suck. Look at Al Horford twice. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
I kind of believe in that structure and the fact that they've been there. Maybe it's just like the franchise bias of like Celtics Hornets. You're gonna pick Celtics every time.
What were we talking about? Like I was like, so I was saying, I was watching last night and I was like, man, this Hornets team is so good. It doesn't feel right because it's Charlotte, but like they should be taken seriously. Yeah, I agree with you there. No, I wouldn't pick them to beat Boston, but I kind of just want to pick Charlotte to win a series because I just think you have to do something with this momentum. Like, I don't think they're just gonna get punched in the mouth. You know?
I also think the play-in we should alter. We should do a fan vote or just a vote of like maybe the people that vote for MVP, like those people, and just vote for like which two teams make it. Because no one wants to see the Orlando Magic.
I don't know though, Chris, because there's been years the Lakers are in the play-in or like the Heat. Like, their fans are just going to come out and vote. You mean maybe a media and coaches vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the fans would just vote.
But like basically the MVP, like let's just like as a collective society be like, what would be best? We should have the Hornets in over the Magic. I'm sorry, Orlando, you had your chance. You lost today. They gave up, what was it, a 33-0 run?
31-0 run, to Toronto? Yeah, that was crazy.
That's unacceptable. That's Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto Raptors. That is unacceptable. You traded everything, like all your picks are Desmond Bane, and you're fighting for the play-in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, they don't deserve to make over the Hornets, who were like looking like this buzzsaw right now. Buzzsaw.
I love that nickname. I don't know if that's official yet, but like the buzzsaw lineup. The buzzsaw lineup.
Yeah. So let's put in the Hornets, and then maybe we could play for the other spot between, was it Magic, Heat, and
Well, it would come down to like there's a race between 5 through 10 right now. Like,
yeah. I think society we disagree. Let's put in Charlotte. Let's put them on the opposite side of the Celtics.
The way I think it's going to go is I think the Sixers in Atlanta will get the 5-6, and then you'll have, I'd imagine the Heat and the Hornets get in through the play-in, and then Orlando and Toronto wind up on the outside looking in. But we'll see. There's still 8 games. There's still 7 to 8 games left. We'll see. What do you say?
Toronto's been like 5 or 6 all year, but they could fall out.
Yeah, they're not as hot as these other teams. Even the Sixers. I don't want to get too much into that. I can do that on my own pod, but like just for this conversation though, the Sixers are like 7-3 or so in their last 10, which just doesn't feel real to me because until seeing everybody back this week, it really felt sour after the McCain stuff. They lost by Charlotte, beat them by like 40. Atlanta beat them by a ton. Portland beat them by a ton. It just felt over. They played the Thunder with nobody in the loss. Like, it felt over, and then all of a sudden it's like we're back. So I don't know, and they've also been beating bad teams. Like they piled these wins over like Sacramento and the Wizards and the Kings. So we're still in it too. I don't know how, but now we got everybody. So
not to make this about the Saints, but I'm gonna give you a Sixers Saints comparison.
Well, there's many to make. There's many to make.
Yeah, here's the one I'm gonna go with. Okay, so the Sixers trade Jared McCain to the Thunder, and now Sixers could use a scoring guard off the bench,
right?
And it's like, oh, you just had that and you got rid of it.
Yeah,
this is like the Saints this year. They're so annoying. They traded for Devon Vele, and they overpaid for him.
Yeah, they did.
Then the picks that they gave up for him, they get back from the Seahawks, and they give them Rashid Shaheed. So you basically just traded Devon Vele for Rashid Shaheed, which is a huge downgrade.
I never realized that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you basically so I'm not even going to count Vele. You basically trade away Rashid Shaheed, and now you're like, oh no, now we don't have another receiver with Chris Olave, and Tyler Shuck though actually became good. Yeah. And now that Shuck is good, you're like, oh no, we kind of need another receiver for someone to throw to. But they traded him before Shuck actually kind of got going. So now they're like, oh, well, now we have to draft a receiver. I'm like, you could have just kept Rashid Shaheed,
Mm-hmm.
had 2 receivers. I get he had to pay him though, so like, I get they want to get something before he left. Then I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have traded picks for Devon Vele, who
Yeah.
hasn't done anything.
Yeah. Just real quick, like I was at the Thunder game in Philly,
Yeah.
and McCain came in the game, and Nick Nurse went the whole year basically like just having McCain like do ISOs for some reason off the bench. The Thunder come in and they run literally back to back in the span of 30 seconds. They ran 2 screen dribble handoffs with Jalen Williams that got Jared wide open threes. He had 6 points in like 10 seconds in the game, and I was like, "Are we serious? Like this wasn't hard. This is his best skill was his off ball movement." And anyway, but the Sixers we beat the Hornets. We beat the Hornets, so it's okay now.
When guys leave and then the other team figures out something, you're like, I knew we should have done that. I mean, to be fair, the Saints used Shaheed well.
Yeah.
It was just we traded stuff away for a third receiver who wasn't good, then traded away Shaheed, and now we have to draft a receiver because we traded him away and you could have just kept him. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's my Saints Sixers.
Well, on the East, there's one other team that I think neither of us really want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about them. So my mind versus my eyes are telling me 2 different things. My mind says, James Harden, you can't pick a team in the playoffs with James Harden. He's done it to my team. He's done it to countless teams, really. But my eyes are telling me that Cleveland might just be the best team in the East after this trade. I would probably pick Boston, but I'm saying, like, what I'm saying right now is if we didn't know anything about James Harden's prior playoff history, I'd probably pick Cleveland to win the East. They're 15-5 since they got Harden, or when Harden plays for them. That's a 62-win pace. And let me just say, since Houston, I think this might be the best roster around James Harden. Like, he had Embiid, and that was such a deadly 2-man game. And, Harden, that he was able to kind of elevate Embiid from like a 28-point score to like MVP, 34 a game. Like, that was cool. But this Cleveland team has shooters everywhere. And they have 2 bigs that Harden can like legit run, pick and roll, throw a lob up, dump it down with an entry pass for a dunk. Like, as good as Embiid is, he wasn't catching lobs from Harden. Zubac wasn't getting up in the air for him. And then the Sixers certainly, like, the Sixers were spreading the floor for him with Toby and PJ Tucker. The Cavs have like 8 freaking shooters, plus Mitchell, who's he's gonna show up for the playoffs. I'm just saying that this might be the best roster he's had since he exited his prime in Houston. Could all of this mask his playoff issues? Now, you would have said this last year, but I think this Cleveland roster is better than the Clippers last year. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, I feel like Cleveland has the infrastructure that you would want. And like, you look at them against Boston, it's like on paper, Mobley and Allen should be able to crash the boards, box them out. Now, we know they're not going to because they are soft in the playoffs. But what if this is the year it works? What if this is the year it works? I'm not picking Cleveland. I refuse to do it. I hate James Harden. He's a playoff joker. I'm not picking them, but I'm just saying my eyes tell me that they might be the best team in the East based on the regular season results.
My eyes tell me that's James Harden on the Cavs.
Right.
I'm not picking that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not getting sucked into it again, Joe. Last year, he sucked us in. He sucked us in whatever team he goes to.
He didn't suck me in last year. Let me make that clear. I wasn't a believer.
I'm saying people in the around were like the Clippers might win the West.
Right.
Like that was the talk of like the Clippers are actually the best team.
Yeah.
I'm not believing in him anymore. I've never really believed in him except 1 year when Russ was on his team.
Yeah.
And then you know what happened? They got to the playoffs and did not play that well.
Well, they never, but yeah.
I just will not believe in the Cavs and Harden. This is like the combination of my 2 least favorite things. Both teams great in the regular season, suck in the playoffs, and they're soft, and they just look like they're missing a part. I like Donovan Mitchell. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I like. I don't think they should be on the same team. They're too repetitive. They both have the same strengths and the same weaknesses. And when it comes to playoffs, they can't rebound, which is unacceptable for a team with 2 7-footers in the paint.
Yeah.
Now you add James Harden, and he could pass the ball, and he could be like, wow, how did we get this guy for barely anything in a trade? Why was the other team trying to give him away again? And then you get to the playoffs, you're like, oh, yeah. This is James Harden we're talking about.
Well, okay. Once again, I don't believe in James Harden. I think he's had enough chances. I just don't see a world where. No, I was gonna say something, but honestly, it doesn't even matter what stage of his career he's in. Like him shooting 7 times in that game 7 last year against Denver was so inexcusable, and there was no reason for that. So any defense I was about to actually make for him for this Cleveland is like, well, the offense is set up a certain way, like where it's like impossible for him to have a bad game. Like that's just not true. Like as much as they can just defer to Mitchell as a scorer, Harden's got to shoot. He's got to go. He's got to attack. He's got to be aggressive. He can't just pass the ball. And we've seen him settle for that over the past couple of years in Philly, in LA. So I don't know. On paper, it's like, how could that happen when you have this much spacing for the guy and the size to help him out too? But who knows? Maybe he'll roll over it.
Harden always finds a way to literally look uninterested in a playoff game. I don't know how. But that will conclude our playoff talk. And now we're going to end on the topic that is going all over the world, tanking.
Oh my goodness.
The NBA is acting like this is a new problem of like these teams are purposely like trying not to win to get a good draft pick. And I'm like, hello, this has been a thing for a while. What's different now is that like with 10 games left, we know the top 10 and there's a gigantic gap between the 10th seed and the 11th seed in both.
The Bulls didn't even show up for the play-in this year.
Yeah, I would have honestly assumed that the Bulls are just having an annual spot. They don't have to play to get in there. The Heat, Raptors, and Bulls, I think, are 3 of the 4 spots every year. So the NBA didn't recommend. They're coming up with ways to solve the problem. I'm not going to come up with the perfect solution because you know why? They're not going to hear it. They're not going to listen to it. And I also don't have one because part of it is just the nature of a league. If you get a better pick by being bad at the sport, that's a reward for being bad. If you're not going to win the title and you have no chance to, and you're not even good enough to even put up any run in the playoffs, why would you try?
Right.
That's the problem. And you would like to think most teams somewhat try for most of the year, and then by the end of the year, you kind of pull it back. The issue is you just rewarded the Mavericks, who traded away their best player, and then here's the thing: the Mavericks didn't really tank last year. They traded away their best player. Kyrie got hurt.
Yeah.
AD got hurt after 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And with the lowest odds ever, they won. And now they keep trying to flatten the curve. And I'm like, the more you flatten the curve, the more you're incentivizing the teams in the middle.
I know.
To just suck.
I know.
Like if you're in the 7, 8, 9, 10 spot, instead of encouraging them to try to get the play-in, you're like, don't get the play-in. Just lose more, and you'll get even higher chances of getting Cooper Flag. So, I don't really know because I feel like the problem is the more you level out the odds, the more you're just rewarding more teams to be bad.
Right.
I feel like the NFL is pretty easy. It's like, hey, if you really suck, and there's usually only like 2 of them, you're guaranteed a good pick, and then you usually get better where you don't have to do that again for a while.
I don't think the NFL is a good reference point though, just because like you have to try, and there's so few games too.
True.
Like most teams, there's like 3 teams. Like you can tanking in the NFL to me is just by roster semblance. Like it's just like Geno Smith is back on the Jets. They're tanking. Like you know, like it's just how people construct the roster. And sometimes like it doesn't even work out that way. Like Sam Darnold with the Vikings. Everyone's like, oh, Vikings are going to start Sam Darnold. I guess they're not going to be good. And then they were. So like sometimes that's not even how it works out. But that's neither here nor there. I do think, like, I don't know if you want to get into the specific 3 proposals.
I'll 3 proposals in a second.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I just think I agree with you though that we're at a point where I think the most alarming. I've said this to you before, but like the alarming thing to me is not only are teams trying to tank, now they're like intentionally like trading for the Wizards. Like we're gonna trade for Anthony Davis because he's hurt. Like and or the Jazz trade for Jaren and like, oh, look at the Jazz making an aggressive move, and then it's like Jaren has to get a minor surgery and he's out for the year.
Your knee hurts?
Yeah,
I think knee surgery will
be out. Yusuf Nurkic, who like Yeah, Yusuf Nurkic is really going to prevent them from tanking, but they like put him out for the year with like a nose, like a broken nose or something, or he had to get like something with his nose. I forget exactly what it was. And Yusuf Nurkic is out for the year now. It's like
He got a
it's
bloody
just
nose
crazy.
after the year.
What you say? Yeah, bloody nose right now. It wasn't bloody nose, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm a Sixers fan. I'll defend tanking in some capacity till the day I die. But like, Sixers are like, hey, we're gonna roster Elliott Williams and Henry Sims and Hollis Thompson, and we're gonna be bad. Like, those Sixers weren't like. I mean, Embiid was hurt, but it was because he was actually hurt. Like
The Sixers did not have Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid take them out in the fourth quarter, put their scrubs to lose.
Right,
They
exactly.
did not make them all have a mysterious minor.
And that's why I respect what the Kings have done this year so much, Chris. Like, just ethical tanking. It's like, hey, we have 32-year-old players and we still suck. Like,
just be bad. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just don't pretend to be bad when you could actually be decent.
Right.
That's the problem.
The Jazz have been the masters of that. I mean, I remember we did a pod on Trust the Pod it was like 2023. And we were like, wow, the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen, Will Hardy, Mike Conley, and it's like they traded everyone in the next year just so they could tank. And it's like, I get it. Like, that team was never winning a title, but they just like intentionally were like, let's just collapse the entire team and not play anyone.
I'll read the 3 proposals the NBA kind of said they're looking into.
One of them, I will say, I didn't hate as much as the other 2, but I don't think any of these were great.
Number 1, 18 teams in the draft lottery, the 7 through 15 seeds in each conference. And so now instead of 9 through 15, it's 7 through 15. So more teams are in the draft lottery. It flattens the odds with the bottom 10 teams have an 8% chance each, where the remaining 20% odds are distributed in decreasing order from 11 through 18, and a lottery drawing for all 18. So basically, the bottom 10 teams all have the same odds. There's no reward for being the worst team. It's just the same for the all last 10. And it adds 4 more teams to the lottery.
Yeah, the play-in teams are in the lottery.
Yeah. I'll quickly say about that. It's what I'm saying before. You're only encouraging more teams to be bad, is my thought. If you said the very worst team has a 50% chance, maybe the bottom 3 teams really tank, but then any team that's slightly better than that that's not going to catch them won't try as hard. That would be my thought.
Yeah.
Number 2.
What?
2 teams in the lottery using 2-year records.
Yeah.
Seeds 7 through 15 plus the 4 plus the 4 playoff first round exits in both conferences.
Yeah.
Lottery teams would reach a minimum win total floor in each season, such as 25 wins. If a team does fall short of that floor, it gets slotted to meet the floor.
So I was reading about this. I was confused first. The floor is like, they're basically saying, if you have a 14-win season, you get equated to if the number's 25, a 14-win season has the same odds as like the 25-win season. Like, you're not like, if you go 0-82, you don't automatically like have a higher weight to you. Sure. This is so, like, there's still issues with it if they even just take away that playoff thing. Like, if they did a 2-year lottery thing for just the teams that missed the playoffs, I mean, you're still not really going to dissuade tanking that much. It just might make teams tank longer, so that's still a problem. But to me, the idea that these teams that make the playoffs could still have a lottery pick is ridiculous to me. Like, there's years the 7 seed has 48 wins. Like, that's just completely ridiculous.
Timberwolves get the number 1 draft pick because they lost in the first round. Imagine that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. So, I kind of like the idea of the 2-year lottery odds. I think that makes it a little bit better. Like, for example, like Charlotte this year, they were bad last year. This year they're good. I prefer if they did like where you can't have a top 3 pick 2 years in a row instead of going by like 2-year record. I don't think there's a perfect solution, because even if you can't have I've heard the argument like, okay, if they make it like you can't have a top 3 pick 2 years in a row, then teams are just going to go like even harder to tank for the year they're allowed to get a top pick. So I hear that too. None of it's perfect, but I definitely think that's at least a little bit better than this idea of like the 2-year record, where I don't really feel like that changes much one way or the other. So I don't even think that's worth it.
I don't like the 2-year record idea. I do like the idea that you said of you can't get like 2 top 4 picks.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be like you can't get the number 1 pick like twice in a 5-year span or
Sure.
something.
Yeah.
Like you can't be top 4
Well, if they
consecutive.
stretch it out to like 5 years, then that could be effective.
I
But
think that should just be for the number 1 pick, and then like you can't be top 4 consecutively. Like that
yeah,
I think
I like
makes
that.
sense. Um, I like the idea of doing something like that. I like the idea of a floor, and if you don't meet that floor, there's punishments.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should have to refund the season tickets of the fan
Yeah.
if you don't reach 25 games.
Yeah, I remember I've seen some people say that. Like, it's just hard because, like, that sounds good hypothetically, but, like, how can they, like, I guess Adam Silver could force the owners to do something, but beyond that.
That or next year, they get free
Yeah.
season tickets again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, you should have to, like, I think if they don't meet the floor, then their, like, price ticket has to be, like, capped
Mm-hmm.
to next year. Like, you can't go over $100 on a ticket because, like, you suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you
Yeah.
should not be able to charge people to watch your team. That's terrible. That would just be my thought because I think it's ridiculous. The third proposal, 18 teams in a 5x5 lottery.
Yeah.
The bottom 5 teams have equal odds for the top pick, with lottery formed for picks 1 through 5. The bottom 5 teams have a floor at 10. Those that fall out of the top 5 get sorted in a separate drawing.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't know if their idea is to try and make it confusing to where we can't explain it to people.
right. That's this
But
one.
that's a great job if that is their goal.
Yeah. I just don't like this one because I get it, like, you want to dissuade tanking, but I also think that if you're a bottom 2 team in the league, I already think it's bad that you can plummet to like 5 or 6. The
Yeah.
fact that, like, if I don't want to see the worst team in the league have the 10th pick or whatever, like, I think that's ridiculous. I think
That's why flattening the odds are only
I
going to
know,
lead to the same
I know,
bad teams being
I know,
bad.
I know. Yeah, I just don't agree with. I think as much as people might not like the tanking and you don't want to reward teams, I don't think you can finish. I mean, this happened to remember when the Pistons, they had like the longest losing streak ever and they got the 5th pick? Like, that already felt wrong. Like,
Yeah.
if the Pistons could pick 9th in that draft, like, that would have been ridiculous. Like, I think that's just unfair. I think I really don't like that. And then, I don't know, like, I guess the idea of like doing a lottery for the top 5 and then doing a separate lottery for all the rest of the picks, like, it's different. Like, are they going for different, or are they going to try to solve the problem and make the product better? Like, I don't know. To me, it's like you're just changing something. It's not really improving the problem. They're just changing it. Like, I don't know.
They're trying to punish the very worst teams, and they're just going to make more of the middle teams bad.
I know. I know.
I just think philosophically, they're looking at flattening the curve, and I'm like, no, make it more steep, because
Mhm.
that will then, instead of having this long curve that sucks in more teams into it, make it more like this, what most of the teams try, and there's only
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 teams. You're not going to get a league where all 30 teams are really trying to win the title.
Mhm.
If you are, that's insane. That's never going to happen.
I feel like when they changed the rule in 2019,
To flatten it to like the worst 3 teams of equal
yeah,
odds or something.
because before it was like the number 1 pick had the strongest odds.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember because, like, I just feel like in that point in time, you had more teams that didn't tank until late in the season. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it makes more sense for only a couple teams to have the strong odds to get the number 1 pick, because that makes less teams be like, okay, well, we can get Wembanyama, we can get Cooper Flag. Like, I don't know. I guess I'd have to go back and look at what was going on then, but I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, is their view of it is only going to lead to more teams wanting to be bad.
Mhm.
It might encourage the Nets to win an extra 3 games. That's not going to really change anything to me, but what would be nice is if 4 more teams tried. I'd rather have a completely terrible 4 teams than just like a decently bad 10 teams. Like, I'd rather have more of the league trying, and I'm
Mhm.
okay with 4 teams sucking every year. I'm fine with that.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think that what they had 5-6 years ago, even though teams were still tanking, they're like, oh, let's try to get the 6th pick instead of the 12th pick. Like, yeah, that was happening, but I don't know. I just think that it's gotten worse. I agree with you, and I don't think these proposals are really going to change too much. I mean, maybe who's to say they get approved? I mean, this is just the first stage of it, but I don't know.
It's going to only help the decent teams, and the teams that really suck are going to stay at the very bottom because we're not going to get the top picks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I know.
Hey, Cleveland, we know you're terrible. You wanted LeBron. You didn't get him. Instead, you got Darko. Oh, great. That's really going to help us get out of this disaster. No, just whatever. I think Adam Silver's stock is at an all-time low, especially
Mm-hmm.
with him talking about how bad the tanking issue is. I also feel like this year, with the amount of good people coming in, it happens. A few years ago when the draft class wasn't good, we were talking about it. There were some teams tanking, but it wasn't, this bad. Last year, and for Cooper Flag, the team that got him was trying most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the Kings always at the bottom and always getting the 5th pick.
Right. It doesn't help anybody. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It only helps the teams that get absurdly lucky. It should have helped the Hawks, but that draft was terrible. But imagine if that draft was good.
Well, they got lucky too. They weren't the worst team.
Yeah, they were a pretty good team. It should have helped the Pelicans that year when they got Zion. They weren't the worst team. They were decent, honestly. Another Lakers LeBron trade where the team that gives them the star gets the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
But it kind of helps these middle teams, but then the teams at the very bottom that tank to get them can't ever get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, Adam, I'm open to talk. I'm busy now. I have a job, but I'll make some free time if you want me to come in about the tanking issue. That's just one thing I just haven't really heard a lot of is when you talk about flattening the curve, I think it's only going to make the problem worse.
Mm-hmm.
Encouraging more teams to be bad. So,
yeah.
Happy you got to talk about that. Joseph, anything else NBA related? Any thoughts?
Not really. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun playoff. It feels like we talked about all these teams that are hot right now. It's hard to predict. I mean, I'd probably pick the Thunder, but beyond just the basic who I think is going to win the title. I just think the first round could be really interesting. I think a lot of people, a lot of teams rather, are hitting their stride at the right moment. So I'm excited for the end of the season here.
Yeah, I'm just kind of afraid that the Lakers are going to lose in the first round because they don't have a defense. And last year, I was all excited. Then they lost to the Timberwolves, and
well,
I was
if they pull that Rockets matchup, I mean, they could easily win. So
I know, just the West is so annoying because you'll feel so good about some team, and then oh, they have to win 3 extremely tough matchups in a row, which is really hard to do. And I feel like it just hasn't happened a lot for me.
Yeah,
but hopefully we get something good. Joe, where can the people find you if they want more Joe Tuman?
Check out Trust the Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, talking Sixers, but also all kinds of NBA topics, and then also Tuman Talking Sports on YouTube. I'm trying to do a little more on there, so check those out.
Cool. Well, thank you all for listening, and Adam should be back next time. We'll get him out of hiding. But listen, we appreciate the support, the amount of people messaging us on Instagram hey, Chris, are you okay? Adam, where have you guys been? I missed the podcast. Just hundreds and hundreds of people pouring in around the world, missing Pain and Panic. So I had to give you guys something. So I hope you guys are all happy, and we will be back soon in the normal, maybe not the normal schedule, but we'll figure something out. We'll transition to a non-football posting schedule, but stay up to date for that. Follow us on the socials at Pain and Panic Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, which you're watching right now. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.